Hi folks, welcome to the channel. Now today's video is one to show 3 box sets, all folk related ones. The main one that instigated this video is this brand new massive box set from Madfish, Martin Carthy, Along the Road Forever, live at the BBC 1965 to 2022. Now this I pre-ordered a couple of months ago as a birthday present for myself because it was fairly expensive. And if you know Madfish and their box sets, they're brilliant. They're very much produced with the fan in mind, and this is no different from the ones they've done before. When I saw that they were doing one on Martin Carthy, I had to purchase it. Now Martin Carthy, often called the godfather of the British folk revival, was an ever present in the British folk scene for 6 decades. A brilliant musician, brilliant interpreter of traditional songs with a great voice and a wonderfully distinctive percussive style of guitar playing. Not only known for his solo work, but for his work with Steel Eye Span, with the Albions, a great duo that he formed with the great fiddler Dave Swarbrick, and after marrying Norma Waterson, he became part of the one of the most important folk families in the British Isles, and that's the Watersons. So he joined that band. He worked with his daughter as Carthy Waterson. Did a ton of stuff, and obviously during his working period he did a lot of sessions for the BBC, both radio and TV sessions, and that's what this box set from Madfish is devoted to. So that's the cover. You have the spine, and on the back it details the 20 CDs that this box set includes. Just take the top off, and I've stuck the hype sticker inside, and it says this is a 20 CD set with live and session performances recorded for the BBC over 7 decades, lovingly compiled by noted folk authority Colin Harper, with full cooperation of Martin Carthy, including collaborations with Norma Carthy, Eliza Carthy, the Watersons, Steel Eye Span, Albion Country Band, Chris Wood, Dave Swarbrick, Brass Monkey, John Kirkpatrick, Martin Simpson, Jules Holland and others. So let's look at what's in there. And first off, we have one of 2,000 individually signed certificates from Martin himself. Now I've just got to mention that I think one of the reasons for this being produced now is that sadly Martin was diagnosed, I think, with Alzheimer's back in 2025. So he's obviously had to curtail his career. Sad news, but what a career. We then get a little wallet that includes a letter regarding one of his upcoming releases, a wonderful promo photo of Martin in his early years. And we have an interview with the great man himself, which I think was done at the time he originally joined Steel Eye Span. We then have some notes by Kevin Boyd on the sessions, and again a list of the CDs on the back. I unfortunately only ever got to see Martin once live, and that was in his second stint in Steel Eye Span for the Stormforce 10 and Live at Last albums back in, I think, 1977. Never got to see him, sadly, playing solo. And we have, as with all Madfish sets, an incredible hardback book detailing his career. Oops, sorry. With lots of brilliant photos, essays. There's an excellent photo of the original Albion Country Band. These box sets by Madfish are really incredible. They're expensive, but they're worth, I think, every penny. And there's a picture with his daughter Eliza. And then we get the details of every CD in the set. And we'll just briefly go through the CDs. First up, CD 1, Studio Sessions 1973 to 1977. They all come in these gatefold covers, even though they're single CDs. And on this one, which starts off with a banger, a Sounds of the 70s Radio 1 session from 73 of the Albion Country Band. This is the only CD I've managed to listen to yet so far, and that is superb. The quality of these recordings is excellent. We then get 3 John Peel sessions from 74, 76 and 77. CD 2 is On Stage 1973 to 1977, and this features 4 sessions from the Folkweave programme from Radio 2, 1973, 74, 75 and 77. CD 3 is On Stage 1978 to 79 and features basically 2 sessions from Radio 2 again, both from the Sidmouth Folk Festival in 78 and in 79. CD 4 is On Stage 1979 to 1986, and again we get the Sidmouth Folk Festival in 1979, the 18th Cambridge Folk Festival with the Martin Carthy Band, as they were named at the time, eventually to be renamed as Brass Monkey, and then you get a Folk on 2 session with Brass Monkey. And CD 5, On Stage 1981 to 83. This is all taken from Folk on 2 from 1982, 81, 84 and 83. I never understand why they don't put them in chronological order, these sessions, but hey ho. The next one, CD 6, is studio sessions 83 to 88. Starts off with a John Peel session from 1983. We then get 3 sessions from Andy Kershaw's programme from 87 and 2 from 88. One of them being with the Watersons. And it finishes off with a Folk on 2 session from 87, which on one track includes Chris Wood accompanying Martin. CD 7, on stage 84 to 90. This includes the Whitby Festival from 1985, a BBC Radio Sussex session from 84, and then we get a Folk on 2 1990 session from the Salisbury Arts Centre featuring Martin and his longtime compatriot Dave Swarbrick. CD 8 is Carthy and Swarbrick studio sessions and on stage 1988 to 97. So we start off with a Folk on 2 session from 1988. Another one from 89, Andy Kershaw, 1990. Belfast Festival, just a single track from 88. And finish off with a Folk on 2 session from 97 of the duo. CD 9 is Martin with his daughter Eliza at the Glastonbury Festival in June 95. That occupies all of the CD. CD 10 is studio sessions 95 to 97. This starts off with a Waterson Carthy session for Andy Kershaw in 1995. Then get Folk on 2 Radio 2 97 alternate takes, and finishes off with a Martin Carthy and Dave Swarbrick session again from 1977, again alternate takes. On to CD 11. Told you this was exhaustive, this set. This is studio sessions 97 to 2004. Starts with a Radio 2 Folk on 2 session from 97 and finishes off with a Radio 3 Andy Kershaw session from 2004. CD 12, on stage 1990 to 99. You have the Watersons, started off from the Sidmouth Folk Festival in 1990. 2 tracks from the same festival but in 1992. You then have a whole bunch of numbers from the Impressions show on Radio 3, recorded at the Rare Music Club Bristol, and that features Wood, Wilson and Carthy, the trio, and finishes off with 1 track from the Cambridge Folk Festival in 99. CD 13 is the Sidmouth Folk Festival in 1999, Part 1. So it features 10 tracks from that festival that occupy the whole of that CD. And that's completed on this CD 14 on stage 1999/86. So yeah, you get the final 5 tracks from the Sidmouth Folk Festival. And then you get a Folk on 2 session from 1986 at Butlins in Bognor Regis, and that features Martin's band Brass Monkey. CD 15 is devoted to Martin and Norma with their 60th birthday concert 2001, which was recorded at the Alhambra Theatre, Bradford, and was broadcast by Andy Kershaw. CD 16 is on stage 2005 to 14. Whole bunch of sessions here from the BBC Folk Awards with Martin Carthy, Martin Simpson and Paul Sartin. Talking Bob Dylan Blues, a tribute concert from BBC 4, in which he does Lonesome Death of Hattie Carroll and Scarborough Fair. Folk Britannia, Which Side Are You On? That was a BBC programme recorded at the Barbican in London. The Freewheeling Bob Dylan, a folk tribute that was done for Radio 2, and on which he performs Bob Dylan's Dream. Again, him and his daughter with one track from Front Row, Radio 4 in 2011. In Tune, Martin Carthy with the Aurora Orchestra from 2012. The Cambridge Folk Festival 2013, which was Martin with Dave Swarbrick. And finishes off with the BBC Folk Awards in 2014 with his daughter Eliza. CD 17, Studio Sessions 2014 to 22. So we have him doing Gilbert O'Sullivan's Nothing Rhymed from the Jules Holland programme on Radio 2 in 2011. And that's Martin with the Jules Holland Ensemble. You then get Martin and Eliza again, World on 3, Radio 3 in 2014. Bob Fisher's BBC Radio Tees programme from 2017. In Tune, Radio 3, that's him and John Kirkpatrick as a duo. Get another In Tune session from 2020, which is him and Eliza again. And finishes off with a Radio 3 track from Martin and Eliza. CD 18, it's just called 1963 to 68. This goes way back. Starts off with songs from Hullabaloo, which was an ABC, I think, TV programme. 10 tracks from that with with Bob Davenport, Rory McEwen and Lisa Turner. Songs from Hallelujah, another ABC TV programme from 1966. You then get the London Folk Song Seller, Martin and Dave. More from the London Folk Seller in 66 with him solo. Again, him as a duo with Rory McEwen from 66. And then as a duo with Isla Cameron, again from 66. Another track from with Dave Swarbrick. 2 tracks with Dave from One More with Julie Felix, BBC 2. And finishes off with Degrees of Folk from BBC 2, which is Martin and David again. And my favourite, it's got to be CD 19, devoted to his original stint with Steel Ice Band 1970-71. You get a Top Gear session from 1970, a John Peel Sunday concert from 1971, and finishes off with a couple of tracks from Sounds of the 70s, one from 71 and one from 1970. Sadly, there's nothing from his second stint in Steel Ice Band. They mustn't have done any BBC sessions with that version of the band, sadly. And finally, CD 20 is a bonus off-air 65 to 72. So I don't know what the quality on these are going to be, given that they were recorded off-air. But you get tracks from Sergeant Musgrave's Dance, a BBC TV show in 65. Another one from Hallelujah in 66. One from a show called Wonderful Copenhagen, done by Radio 1 in 67. That's Martin and Dave again. Then My Kind of Folk, a Radio 2 programme in 68, again Martin and Dave. Country Meets Folk, Radio 1 69, that's Martin and Dave Swarbrick. And then you get Folk on Friday, Radio 2 1971. A John Peel session from 1972. And finishes off with 2 tracks from an unknown TV programme in 72 featuring Martin and Dave Swarbrick. So that's it, a pretty exhaustive look. And I don't think that's everything that he did for the BBC. I think that's just everything that he's still around. A wonderful box set. Like I say, I've listened to the first CD. Quality was brilliant. The performances were superb. So Martin's career fully deserves such a box set. As I say, expensive, but well worth it. And while I was showing the new Martin Carthy box set, I thought I'd take the chance to show an earlier one produced in 2001, I think. Yeah, 2001. You may have seen an earlier video I did where I showed the box sets produced by the company Free Reed that were devoted to Fairport Convention, Richard Thompson, Ashley Hutchins and Dave Swarbrick. Well, they also did one devoted to the works of Martin Carthy called The Carthy Chronicles, a journey through the folk revival, a 4 CD set comprising of 83 tracks on 4 themed CDs from Martin Carthy, MBE, the Prince of Folk. Here are gems from his early career at the birth of the English folk revival, lost radio and TV sessions, and a wealth of rare, previously unreleased and classic tracks from the past 40 years of Martin Carthy's life and music, featuring Dave Swarbrick, Wood Wilson Carthy, The Watersons, John Kirkpatrick, Richard Thompson, Band of Hope, Waterson Carthy, Steel Eye Span, Brass Monkey, Albion Band, Howard Evans, Albion Country Band, Ashley Hutchins, Oscori, Bert Jansch, June Tabor, 3 City 4, Thames Siders, Eliza Carthy, Rory McEwen and Lisa Turner. And Free Reed again produced wonderful box sets with a lot of extras usually. And in this one, just show you what we had. We started off with a upside down poster of Martin, but on the other side is one of Pete Frame's excellent family trees. You got a little booklet from Topic Records with detailing all the releases by Martin and the Watersons on Topic. But the main booklet, wonderful booklet again from Free Reed, detailing his musical history, and then goes into extensive track by track notes on every song that's included on the set. And then you get a full discography of Martin's work up to that point, along with details of Martin's appearances on TV. These booklets are superb, lots of reading matter. And then we get the individual themed Sorry for the glare. This one's Classic Carthy, and this includes 17 rare and live tracks of those classic Carthy songs from the most innovative singer of the revival, with many of the great bands and singers with whom he's played, including Dave Swarbrick, Steel Ice Band, Wood Wilson Carthy and Brass Monkey, the Watersons, Albion Band, John Kirkpatrick, Howard Evans and Richard Thompson. CD 2 is titled Carthy in Concert, Carthy in Company, and this features 22 unreleased lost classic and unavailable tracks. Martin in company with the leading most influential bands of world folk and folk rock music, including the Albion Band, Band of Hope, Steel Ice Band, Watersons, Ashley Hutchins, John Kirkpatrick, Waterson Carthy, Oscory and others. CD 3 is Carthy Contemporaries, and this is 24 Carthy performances of contemporary songs from a stunning range of 20th century songmakers, from Dylan to Buddy Holly via Gilbert O'Sullivan, Sidney Carter, Leon Russellson, Dave Goulder, Peter Bellamy, Richard Thompson, Mike Waterson, McCall, Brecht, Maggie Holland, Les Barker, Anton Karras, Cyril Tawney, and by Carthy himself. And the final CD is Child Carthy, 20 rare, unreleased and classic child ballads and other vital Carthy big ballads and songs that Martin has given to the world from the great archives of folk music, with Dave Swarbrick, Norma and Eliza Carthy, Rory McCune and Lisa Turner, Steel Ice Band and Bert Jansch. And I said it was a 4 CD, but it actually turned out to be a 5 CD set, because if you bought one of the very first copies, which I did, you got a promotional CD, the companion CD-ROM rather, to the Carthy Chronicles, which include a track finder, a Carthy timeline, video clips, 60th birthday concert tracks, audio samples, discography, interactive links to research sources, and links to Carthy Waterson's CD sales sites worldwide. So yeah, that was another excellent box set devoted to Martin's work. And having a quick look, there's not a lot of overlap, maybe 3 or 4 tracks that overlap between the two sets, so one doesn't negate the other. Both are well worth having.
I dreamed a dream the other night. Lowlands, lowlands away, my John. I dreamed a dream the other night. If I had another penny, I would have another jill, and I would make the piper play the bonny lass of a Biker Gill. Biker Gill and walk ashore, my lads, call you lads forevermore. Biker Gill and walk ashore, my lads, call you lads forevermore. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby with a pint of beer all under your arm. Biker, gill and walk ashore, me lads, call you lads forevermore. Me boys, biker, gill and walk ashore, me lads, call you lads forevermore. Ginny, she sits our late up, me Ginny, she sits our late up, me Ginny, she sits our late up between the pintboard and the cup. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby. Hey Ginny, come home to your little baby with a pint of beer all under your arm.
Lay still, my fond shepherd, and don't you rise yet. It's a cold, dewy morning, and besides, my love, it is wet. Oh, let it be wet, my love, and never so cold. I will ride with on board on the way to my boat. Oh no, the bright for all, it is no such thing. It's a bright sun a shining, and the lark is on the wing.
And so I'd like to show another box set devoted to one of the greatest folk artists that I got earlier in the year, and that is this box set devoted to the music of Dick Gaughan, one of the greatest folk singers to come out of Scotland. This is called Re-Evolution, 1969 to 83, and is a glorious celebration of Dick Gaughan's first 15 years of professional music making, curated by music historian Colin Harper, again, and made it possible entirely by crowdfunding. Dick Gaughan was obliged to retire after a stroke in 2016. Re-Evolution 1969 to 83 is phase one in resurrecting, enhancing and multiplying his legacy of recorded works. For those involved, it has been a labour of love. For the artist himself, it means a fair reward at last for decades on the road with singular brilliance, solidarity, compassion, good humour and less than fabulous pay, and the pure joy of knowing that his music will be heard again. So it includes 126 audio tracks across 7 CDs, of which 86 are previously unreleased, 37 stunningly restored film performances for British and European broadcasters spanning 1970 to 2012 on DVD, 44 BBC radio session/concert tracks, including 2 1972 Boys of the Loch Radio 4 sessions and 2 1977 to 78 5-hand reel John Peel sessions. That's the one problem I've got with this box set, there isn't enough 5-hand reel material. I don't know if there is that much available live. They never did a live album during the time they were together, but I would love to see a box set just for them. There's over 100 distinct items of repertoire, much never commercially recorded by Dick. Concert recordings from Britain, Ireland, Germany, Austria and the USA. Scattered studio rarities gathered for the first time. And this is again another wonderful box set. It comes with 2 booklets. This first one is in print 1971 to 1983 and includes lots of articles written about Dick, reviews, etc. Wonderful booklet. And the second one devoted to the box set itself, with again a history of the guy, his work, the tracks that are included, his session work, etc. I mean, these are both over 70 pages long, so again, lots of reading matter. And then you get the discs themselves. Disc 1, BBC Live, 69 to 73. I won't go through all the tracks again. Studio/live/BBC 73 to 77. Studio/BBC 77 to 78. BBC 77 to 82. Studio/live 1981 to 83. Live in America 1981. Studio/live 1983. And finishes off with a DVD, Dick Gaughan on film 1970 to 2012. And unfortunately, I don't think there's any, there's no 5-hand reel, unfortunately, in that one. But again, a superb set, well worth purchasing. And like with the Carthy, supports an artist who sadly has health issues and can't work again, so all the proceeds go to a good cause. I think they're trying to release more on this Gaughan Recordings label of his stuff. I think they're trying to get back rights to a lot of his studio albums, etc. But brilliant stuff.
We must know someone like him. He was tall and strong and lean, with a body like a greyhound and a mind so sharp and keen. But his heart, just like a laurel, grew twisted around itself. Well, almost everything he did brought pain to someone else. Well, it's not just what you're born with, it's what you choose to be. It's not how big your shame is, but how much you can share. And it's not the fights you dreamed of, but those you really fought. It's not just what you're given, it's what you do with what you've got. And what's the use of two strong legs if you only run away? And what use is the finest voice if you've nothing good to say?
Excuse me, by the way, I don't speak very good English, so you may find it difficult to understand me. And I sing in Scottish, which is not English. Not by any stretch of the imagination. I am a brisk young sailor lad, just lately come from sea. Our gallant ship lies anchored in the harbour of Dundee. Young Betsy being the fairest maid that e'er my eyes had seen. I asked her would she take a walk down on the Magdalen Green. But with a smile upon her face she answered me and said, would I take a walk with you, young man? At I would be afraid, for the roads they are so slippery and the nights are hard and keen, and it wouldn't do for me to fall down on the Magdalen Green.
It's there for honest poverty that hangs his head and all that. The coward slave, we pass him by, we dare be poor for all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but the guinea stamp, the man's the gout for all.
One hymnly fairy dine, where hard and grey and all that, he fools their silks and knaves their wine. A man's a man for all that, for all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that. The honest man, though e'er so poor, is king of men for all that.
So that's 3 box sets, folk related, all 3 brilliant and well worth your money if you're into folk music at all. Right, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.